The twin suns of Eden 3 were rising slow and golden, painting the sky with light. The colony was quiet, calm, and a perfect morning. Humans had built this place with patience and hope. Fields of crystal blue grass waved in the wind. Children played among them, their laughter soft like music. Among them was a small girl named Mira. She was 6 years old, with bright eyes and messy hair that always escaped her braid. She was chasing a butterfly, giggling when it flew out of reach. Her father watched from a distance, smiling as he worked on the energy fence. Life here was peaceful, fragile but peaceful. No one knew that peace would end before the suns reached their peaks. At first it was only a sound, a deep low hum that came from the sky. Birds flew away. The children stopped playing. Then shadows moved across the ground. Huge ships, covered the colony in darkness. The Empire's patrol fleet had arrived. Every human froze. Everyone on Eden 3 knew what that symbol meant. The Golden Serpent, mark of the Zarthian Empire. The Empire ruled hundreds of worlds. They didn't ask questions. They didn't show mercy. The largest ship landed just beyond the colony gates. Dust filled the air. Soldiers marched out in black armor, their faces hidden by glowing helmets. Behind them came Commander Zorath, tall, gray-skinned, eyes cold and sharp. The humans gathered nervously. The leader of the colony, Captain Harlan, stepped forward. "We are a peaceful colony," he said, voice shaking slightly. "We follow all trade laws. What is your purpose here?" Zorath looked around slowly, scanning the faces. "We detected stolen Empire tech on this planet," he said. "By law, this is an act of rebellion," Harlan frowned. "There must be a mistake. But the commander raised a hand. "Silence, human. You will all be searched." The soldiers began to move through the colony, breaking into houses, throwing crates, shouting orders. Children cried. Mothers begged them to stop. The sound of boots and weapons echoed everywhere. Mira, still clutching her butterfly jar, peeked out from behind a fence. She didn't understand why everyone looked scared. She saw one of the soldiers push her father to the ground. She dropped the jar and ran toward him. "Stop!" she cried. "He didn't do anything!" Her small voice cut through the chaos. For a second, everything went quiet. The commander turned his head. His cold eyes found the child. "Return the girl," Harlan shouted, trying to reach her. "She's just a child." Zorath looked at Mira, then at the humans staring at him with hate and fear, and he smiled. "Let this be a lesson," he said. Before anyone could move, before anyone could breathe, a single blast rang out. Blue light flashed. Mira fell. Silence. Total silence. Her butterfly jar shattered beside her hand, glass shining like tears in the dust. Her father screamed and tried to reach her, but soldiers held him down. Harlan's eyes filled with rage. "You murdered a child," he whispered. Zorath didn't reply. He just turned away and said coldly, "Search complete. Burn everything." The soldiers moved like machines. Fires started. Homes burned. The colony turned into smoke and screams. Far away in deep space, old systems began to wake. A machine buried beneath the surface of the old Earth ruins blinked for the first time in 400 years. Lights flickered on inside an ancient vault marked with one word. Cryo-mechanical arms began to move. Frozen pods hissed and opened slightly, steam pouring out. An AI voice spoke, calm, steady, human. "Alert. Civilian death detected on Colony Eden 3, child victim. Cause, Empire execution. Pause. Activating Protocol Sigma. Authorization code. Humanity rises." Deep under the ice, 10 pods started to hum. Inside them slept the last soldiers of the Cryo Legion, warriors from humanity's darkest war, men and women frozen in time, waiting for a reason to return. Now, that reason had come. A child's death. Back on Eden 3, the fires finally died. The Empire fleet lifted off, leaving behind only ashes. Commander Zorath looked down from his ship window, satisfied. "Let them remember who rules them," he said. But as his fleet moved into space, something strange happened. A faint signal reached his ship. Old Earth frequency. Human code. The message was simple, 4 words glowing red on his screen. "We are waking up." Zorath frowned. "What is this?" No one answered. The message vanished. Somewhere across the stars, deep engines began to rumble. Old ships hidden for centuries powered up. Metal giants rose from forgotten hangars, their hulls marked with a single symbol, the old Earth flag. And in one of those ships, eyes opened, eyes that had not seen light for centuries. A voice whispered in the darkness, "Who broke the silence?" The AI replied, "The Empire murdered a human child." Silence again. Then the man spoke, and cold, steady, filled with fury. "Then the Empire has made its last mistake." The camera pulls away. The stars burn brighter. The music grows, the cryo-legends are waking. And soon, the galaxy will remember what it means to fear humanity. Darkness filled the underground vaults of old Earth. For centuries, nothing had moved here. Only the quiet hum of sleeping machines whispered beneath the ice. Then the silence broke. Warning lights blinked red. Steam hissed out from 10 ancient cryopods, each sealed with thick glass. The AI voice echoed in the chamber, calm but urgent. Cryo-protocol Sigma, active, awakening human legends. Reason? Empire execution of human child Eden 3 colony. Hydraulic locks snapped open. One by one, the pods released clouds of frozen mist. Inside the first pod, a man's eyes flickered open. Admiral Cale Draven, last commander of the old Earth fleet. His hair was silver now, his body covered in frost, but his gaze was sharp, steady. Dangerous, he gasped, his first breath in 400 years. The AI greeted him softly. "Welcome back, Admiral Cale." "Status report," he said, voice rough. "Human colony Eden 3 attacked. Empire forces executed a child." Kyle's hands clenched. His eyes grew cold. "How long have we slept?" 397 years, 6 months. "And humanity?" "Scattered. Small colonies. Under alien control." Kyle looked around at the others awakening. Men and women once called heroes, scientists, tacticians, pilots. The legends of old Earth. The second pod opened. A woman stepped out, her long black hair frozen in strands of ice. Dr. Lyra Quinn, AI engineer and strategist. Her eyes glowed faintly blue, part human, part synthetic. She placed her hand on the wall as if feeling the heartbeat of the vault. "The world still remembers us," she whispered. "No," Kyle replied quietly. "The world forgot. But now it will remember again." They moved through the command chamber, boots echoing on steel floors. Screens flickered alive, showing star maps, forgotten colonies, and the red mark of the Zarthian Empire spreading across the galaxy. Lyra's voice was soft but sharp. "They killed a child. That means they no longer fear us." "Then we will teach them fear again," Cale said. The AI spoke once more. "Admiral, many systems are offline. Ships buried under ice. Power cells at 43%. Then we start small," Kyle said. "Wake the fleet." Deep under the frozen crust, machines roared to life. The ice cracked. Old hangar doors split open for the first time in centuries. Massive ships began to rise, ancient human dreadnoughts built for a war that was never finished. Their names glowed faintly on the sides. Valkyrie, Endurance, Iron Dawn, Soul's Wrath. Engines that once shook the stars came alive again. As the power surged through them, the ground trembled. Snowstorms swirled around the awakening giants of war. Meanwhile, far above, the Empire's fleet cruised through deep space, confident, proud. Commander Zorath sat in his command chair, sipping dark liquid. He remembered the child's scream. It didn't bother him. He believed the humans would never fight back until his ship's AI spoke. "Incoming transmission. Source unknown." "Play it," Zorath said. A human voice came through, quiet, steady, full of fire. "You murdered a child." "Humanity remembers." Zorath frowned. "Identify that signal." "Impossible." "Origin unknown." "Old Earth frequency." Zorath stood up. For the first time, he felt a chill. "Old Earth is dead," he whispered. But deep inside, something told him, maybe not. Back on Earth, Kyle stood before the cryo-chamber's massive window, watching the rising ships. "Prepare a message," he ordered. "To whom?" Lyra asked. "To every human world still breathing." Moments later, across the galaxy, old communication satellites blinked alive. Satellites no one had seen work in centuries. A face appeared on every human screen. Admiral Kyle, his voice calm, powerful. "This is Admiral Cale Draven of the Cryo Legion. To every human listening, the Empire has spilled innocent blood. A child has been murdered. We are awake again. Humanity will rise." The message spread like fire. In mining colonies, soldiers stopped working. In slave camps, humans looked at each other in disbelief. The stories of the cryo-legends, once myth, were real. Hope after centuries was reborn. Lyra worked quickly beside Kale, scanning the data. Empire communication lines open. They are searching for us. Good, Kale said. Let them find us, she smiled faintly. You always liked impossible fights. Because impossible is where humans begin, Kale replied. In the command center, lights shifted from blue to red. Battle mode. The AI's voice changed tone, deeper. Ready for war. Weapons system online. Engine stable. Fleet operational at 62%. That's enough, Kyle said. Set course for Eden 3. The fleet rose from the icy crust of Earth, cutting through the clouds like silent shadows. Old Earth's flag glowed on their hulls, a symbol forgotten by time. The stars reflected off their armor, like ghosts returning from the grave. Far away, the Empire's scouts detected strange movements. Unknown ships approaching from dead sector, the pilot reported. Zorath leaned forward. Describe them. Old human design. Impossible readings. Admiral, they're huge. Zorath froze. Impossible. But the ships appeared on his screen, 10 massive human dreadnoughts. Ancient but alive. Silent. Cold. Deadly. Moving straight toward Empire space. Kyle looked at the stars and whispered, They thought we were gone. They were wrong. Lyra stood beside him. This will start another war. No, Kale said, eyes burning with purpose. This will end one. The fleet vanished into hyperspace, engines roaring, light streaking behind them. The cryo-legends were awake. And somewhere in the cold dark, the Empire began to fear the humans once again. The stars were quiet. Between them, the vast fleet of old Earth moved like a ghost returning from history. No lights, no broadcasts, only silence. 10 massive human dreadnoughts, each one older than the Empire itself, glided through the darkness. Their hulls were scarred from forgotten wars, their symbols faded but proud. At the front of the formation was the flagship, Valkyrie. Inside it stood Admiral Kale Draven, hands behind his back, eyes locked on the holomap. Beside him, Dr. Lyra Quinn worked on the console, her fingers glowing with data light. The AI's voice filled the room. We are approaching Eden 3 coordinates, Admiral. Status of the colony? Destroyed. No survivors. The words hung heavy in the air. Kyle's jaw tightened. Lyra lowered her gaze. We're too late. Kyle's voice was calm, but his eyes told another story. Deep fury. Then we send a message the Empire will never forget. Across the stars in the shining capital of the Zarthian Empire, life went on as usual. The alien elite gathered in marble halls laughing, trading stories of conquest. They spoke of humans as pets, clever but weak. They had no idea what was coming. In the command spire, Emperor Zaltor, the ruler of the Empire, sat on his throne of crystal. He listened to reports with boredom. Another rebellion? He asked lazily. No, my Emperor, said the messenger. Just human chatter. Old Earth frequencies, meaningless noise. Then silence them, Zaltor said, waving his hand. Humans should remember their place. But far beyond the reach of his arrogance, that meaningless noise was growing into something deadly. On board the Valkyrie, Lyra prepared the transmission. Signal ready, Admiral. Broadcast to every Empire channel, Kale ordered. That's all of them, Lyra said. Good. Let them all hear it. The AI counted down. 3, 2, 1. Every screen across the Empire, from military ships to trade stations, flickered. The image of a human appeared, standing straight, eyes like fire. I am Admiral Kale Draven of Old Earth. 3 centuries ago, we swore that humanity would never again kneel to tyrants. You murdered a child on Eden 3. Now, humanity remembers. The message lasted only 10 seconds. Then the signal cut. The Empire's fleet scrambled. On every channel, alarms screamed. The commanders argued in disbelief. Admiral Kale Draven? Impossible. He's a myth. The cryo-legends were destroyed. But deep in their hearts, the older officers knew the myths were real. Back on the Valkyrie, Lyra watched the transmission logs flood with reactions. They're panicking, she said with a small smile. Good, Kyle replied. Fear is the first step toward respect, the AI interrupted. Multiple Empire fleets mobilizing. Estimated arrival 2 hours. How many? 78 warships. Lyra looked at Kale. 10 of ours against 78 of theirs. Kale turned toward the stars. That's better odds than the last time. The human fleet moved into battle formation. Engines glowed with ancient power. The ships were slower than the Empire's, but stronger, built for wars that once shattered moons. In the hangar bay, human soldiers prepared, the descendants of colonists, rebels, survivors. They wore old-style armor, marked with the Earth insignia. They didn't fight for glory. They fought for memory, for Mira, the child whose death had awakened them all. Kale walked among them silently. He stopped beside one young soldier, who looked nervous. "First battle?" Kale asked. "Yes, sir." "Then remember this," Kale said quietly. "We are not fighting for revenge. We are fighting so no one will ever dare touch a human child again." The soldier nodded. "Yes, Admiral." 2 hours later, the Empire fleet appeared, dark shapes sliding from hyperspace like a storm. 78 ships in perfect formation. The Empire commander smirked. "Pathetic. Only 10 human relics. Charge weapons. Let's end their myth." On the Valkyrie, alarms flared. Lyra's voice was calm but focused. "They've locked on us. Let them," Kyle said. "Hold fire." The AI hesitated. "Admiral, incoming torpedoes." "Wait!" The enemy missiles raced closer. Kyle waited. 5 seconds, 4-3. "Now," he said. Human ships released a shimmering blue field, phase shield, a lost technology the Empire had never seen. The missiles passed through harmlessly, disappearing like ghosts. The Empire commander shouted, What was that?" Before he could finish, Kale gave his next order. "Fire." The Valkyrie's cannons roared. White plasma tore through space, slamming into the lead Empire cruiser. It exploded instantly, silent light in the void. Then all 10 human ships fired at once. The darkness turned into fire. Empire ships broke formation. Their weapons couldn't pierce the phase shields. Their systems jammed. Their AI froze. Lyra smiled as she watched her code infect the enemy systems. Valkyrie virus spreading. Empire network collapsing. "Good," Kyle said. "Now they'll listen." He opened a direct channel to the remaining Empire fleet. "This is humanity's answer. Leave our worlds. Or share their fate." No one replied. The Empire fleet turned and fled into the dark. Silence filled the command deck. Lyra exhaled slowly. "We did it." Kyle didn't smile. His eyes were cold. No, this was only the beginning. He turned toward the stars where the Empire capital shone like a distant jewel. "They took a child from us," he said quietly. "We will take their throne." The AI's voice echoed softly. "Admiral." Message received from unknown human source. Text only. Kyle raised an eyebrow. "Read it. The galaxy is watching." "Don't stop." Kyle looked out into space, at billions of silent eyes waiting. "We won't," he said. The stars reflected off his armor like fire. The humans had spoken. And the Empire, for the first time in centuries, was afraid. The human fleet drifted in silence after the first victory. 10 old ships against 78, and not one human vessel lost. But Admiral Kale Draven didn't celebrate. He knew this was only the beginning. From the Valkyrie's command deck, he stared at the wreckage of Empire ships burning in the black void. "They will come again," Kale said quietly. "And they will come angry." Beside him, Dr. Lyra Quinn nodded as she worked through holographic screens. "Their pride is wounded. The Emperor will send his best fleet." "Good," Kyle said. "Then we'll show him what real war looks like." Scene Empire War Council. Deep within the shining towers of the Zarthian capital, chaos had taken hold. Generals shouted, maps flashed red, and every report carried the same word. Humans. Emperor Zaltor rose from his crystal throne, his voice full of fury. "How can 10 ancient ships defeat my armada? They use technology unknown to us, my Emperor," a general stammered. "Unknown?" Zaltor hissed. "They were primitives. I want their fleet destroyed. Burn every human world if you must." The chamber fell silent. A single order echoed through the Empire's network. Operation Ash. It meant total war. No survivors. Scene. The human fleet prepares in orbit around the shattered remains of Eden 3, the cryo-legion readied for battle. Engineers repaired hulls, soldiers rearmed. Every face was focused, calm. No fear, only purpose. Lyra stood on the Valkyrie's bridge, watching as drones welded armor plates. "We are outnumbered at least 20 to 1, she said. "We always were," Kyle replied. "But now, We remember who we are. The AI's calm voice interrupted. Incoming hyperspace signatures, multiple fleets. Total count 212 ships. Lyra turned. They're coming fast. Good, Kyle said, stepping forward. All ships, battle formation Omega. The humans didn't run. They waited. The stars tore open. The Empire's grand fleet arrived. A wall of metal and fire stretching across the void. Thousands of cannons pointed at the small human formation. The Empire commander opened a channel. "Human Admiral," he sneered. "You are surrounded. Surrender your fleet or be erased from history." Kyle answered, calm as ice. "You already erased our history once. Now we're writing it again in fire." The connection cut. The first strike begins. The Empire fleet moved first. Hundreds of missiles streaked across space. Kyle didn't flinch. "Activate Gravlen's shield." Human ships glowed with a faint blue light. The missiles curved, not away but back, spinning in arcs that turned toward the Empire ships that had fired them. Explosions rippled through the enemy lines. "What is happening?" The Empire commander shouted. "Our missiles are returning." "Impossible!" Kyle watched the chaos with cold focus. "Now, fire all batteries." The Valkyrie's cannons thundered. Each shot cracked open the silence of space, plasma rounds slicing through enemy armor like light through glass. Other human ships followed. Soul's Wrath, Iron Dawn, Valkyrie, and Endurance. Their weapons painting the stars white. Empire ships shattered, burning like dying suns. Lyra stood at her console, face glowing in the battle light. Enemy communications are breaking. Their AI systems are collapsing. "Release Valkyrie Ghost," Kale ordered. Lyra typed one command. Across the battlefield, the Empire's entire network flickered, then went dark. The Valkyrie virus had awakened, spreading through every Empire system like wildfire. Enemy ships turned against each other, firing blindly. Some shut down entirely, drifting powerless. Others exploded as their engines overloaded. The Empire fleet, once proud, unstoppable, now tore itself apart. But victory never came easy. One of the human ships, Soul's Wrath, took a heavy hit, its side torn open by a plasma beam. Kale watched the explosion through the viewport, his jaw tight. "Casualties?" 70 lost, Admiral," Lyra said softly. Kale lowered his head. "Honor them." "They died as legends." He turned back toward the burning chaos. "Target the Empire command ship." "Locked," said the weapons officer. "Then end this." A single rail cannon fired from the Valkyrie. The projectile, a tungsten spear moving near light speed, tore through the Empire flagship from end to end. It broke apart in a silent flash, its debris scattered across the stars. The Empire fleet hesitated, then fled. Aftermath, silence. Only static filled the bridge. Lyra leaned back, exhausted but smiling faintly. "It's done." Kyle didn't smile. His eyes stayed on the void. "No," he said quietly. "This is only the first strike. They will come again, stronger, angrier." "And us?" she asked. "We'll be ready, because now the galaxy knows humans are not extinct." He turned to the crew. "Send a message to every human colony. The Cryo-Legion stands. Earth lives," the AI spoke softly. "Admiral, long-range sensors detect multiple signals. Unknown ships approaching. Empire reinforcements?" Lyra asked quickly. "Negative," the AI replied. "Signal signature, human," Kyle frowned. "Humans?" "Yes, dozens of old ships emerging from hidden systems." "They're answering your call," Lyra smiled. "We're not alone anymore." Kyle looked out the window, watching the new ships appear, small, old, broken, but proud. "Every legend needs believers," he said quietly. "Now, humanity believes again. Seen Empire capital." Emperor Zaltor slammed his fist into the table. "How can this be happening?" "The humans are using lost technologies, my Emperor," his general said nervously. "Then find them. I want every archive searched, every planet burned." The Emperor's voice trembled with fear. "If these legends are real, we could lose everything." But it was already too late. Because across the stars the humans had already begun their rise, and nothing in the galaxy could stop them now. Kyle stood at the edge of the bridge, the stars shining in his eyes. "They killed one child," he said softly. "Now the whole Empire will learn what that cost." The Valkyrie turned toward the distant light of the Empire capital, silent, deadly, unstoppable. The first strike was over. The real war had just begun. The stars burned quietly as the human fleet approached the heart of the Zarthian Empire. The Empire capital, a shining jewel of metal and crystal, lay before them, proud and arrogant, but no longer untouchable. Inside the Valkyrie, Admiral Cale Draven stood at the command deck, eyes fixed on the distant towers. "This ends today," he said, his voice calm, steady. Dr. Lyra Quinn looked at him. "Are you sure? The Empire has billions of soldiers, thousands of warships." Cale smiled faintly. "They've never faced humans like this. Seen the Empire capital Emperor." Zaltor paced in his throne room. His generals whispered frantic reports. "Admiral Cale Draven is at our gates." Impossible. They were myths, legends. The Emperor slammed his hand on the crystal table. "Then myths can die. Destroy every human world. Show no mercy." Outside, Empire defenses glowed red. Cannons and shields lined every orbit. The humans approached slowly, 10 massive ships. Survivors from old Earth, glowing with purpose. Every shot the Empire fired was calculated. Every shield seemed unbreakable. But the humans had something the Empire could not understand. They fought for humanity, not glory. Scene. The final confrontation. Cale gave the order. Form a mega strike. Target command towers and fleet depots. Avoid civilian sectors. Humanity fights with honor. White beams tore through space as human cannons struck with precision. Empire ships scrambled, their formations breaking under the unexpected attack. Explosions lit the void, but the human fleet moved with calm efficiency. Lyra monitored the systems, her fingers flying over controls. Empire AI collapsing. Shields failing, Cale's eyes narrowed. "Then we push further. End this now." In orbit, the Valkyrie fired its massive rail cannon at the Emperor's palace. The bolt struck the crystal towers, shattering them instantly. The Empire watchers froze, shocked at the destruction. Seen human legends confront the Empire. Cale opened a communication channel directly to the Emperor. "Zaltor," he said. Voice cold, "You murdered a child on Eden 3. The Emperor's face twisted with anger and fear. "Do you threaten me?" Cale's voice grew louder, steady like thunder. "No, I am reminding you. You took one innocent life. Humanity remembers every injustice, and now your Empire answers to us." For a moment, silence filled the capital. Then, one by one, Empire ships surrendered. Ground forces ceased their attacks. The galaxy watched as humans, once oppressed, stood unstoppable. Scene. Humanity's victory. The battle ended not with total destruction, but with control and mercy. Human soldiers moved through the Empire fleets, ensuring that civilians survived. Colonies once enslaved were freed. Worlds that had bowed to alien authority now had hope again. Lyra watched from the Valkyrie's bridge. "We did it," she whispered. Cale did not smile. His eyes remained on the stars. "No," he said softly. "This was only the first step. Humanity will not be conquered again. Never." The AI spoke. "Message ready for all human colonies. The cryo-legion returns. Earth lives. Humanity rises." Across the galaxy, humans received the signal. Survivors of old Earth. Legends reborn. The names of the cryo-legion inspired hope. The story of a murdered child became a legend of courage and revenge. Scene. Remembering Mira, Cale stood silently in front of a small holoscreen showing Eden 3. He traced a finger over the image of a little girl with messy hair, smiling in the sun. "Mira," he whispered, "we promised you justice." "And we delivered." Lyra joined him. "She will be remembered everywhere," she said softly. Cale nodded. "They killed one child," he said quietly, "but the galaxy will remember her name forever. Every human now stands because of her." Across the stars, humanity shone. Proud, strong, unbroken. Ships of every size, once hidden or scattered, rose to join the cryo-legion. The humans were no longer scattered colonies, they were a force. Legends walking among the stars. Scene. The galaxy remembers in the Empire's remnants. Zaltor's advisors whispered in fear. "We cannot fight them. We cannot defeat them. Humans are unstoppable." In distant colonies, children learned the story of Eden 3 and the cryo-legion. In every human world, hope rose like the twin suns of old. Cale walked the bridge of the Valkyrie one last time, looking at the galaxy. "They thought we were gone," he turned to Lyra. "They were wrong. Humanity rises, and as the stars stretched endlessly, one truth remained clear: they killed one child. Now, every world remembers her name, Mira. The cryo-legends had returned, humanity had returned, and the galaxy would never forget them again.